Pulp MX Network production.
EVS Sports brings you a cheeky Brit and an American YouTube racing sensation weekly on the LVK More Than Moto podcast. Here's your hosts, Lewis Phillips and Kellen Brauer.
Welcome back, everybody, to the EVS Sports LVK More Than Moto podcast. I am Kellen Brauer, back again with Lewis Phillips. It's November. We are deep into, well, kind of deep into the off-season. It doesn't feel like an off-season anymore with so many races, but it's been a little bit since the AMA circuit has completed. It's been a month now since Motocross of Nations, so there's not been a ton to talk about, but there's been some more breaking news of late, so we've gathered here again today to discuss a few things. And first off, Lewis, how have you been, sir? I haven't even spoken to you, I feel like, in a couple weeks. It's been a minute.
Yeah, maybe I should have been more sociable with you, Kellen, but I try to give you your space. Obviously, we have a very working relationship only, so don't want to dabble in anything more than that. Nothing social. But no, everything's great. And we're actually not far from Anaheim 1. We really aren't.
I know the days are counting down. I think it was 60-something as of November 1st, so yeah, we'll be there before we know it. It's kind of crazy how fast it's going to come upon us. Although it's weird that it's not happening like right at the start of January. I feel like that's going to be like we'll hit New Year's and everyone will be like, all right, here's Anaheim 1, and we still have 11 days, I think it is, until the first round. So it'll be weird.
Yeah, I feel like come New Year's, we'll all be panicking as in like there's so much to do and talk about, when actually New Year's will kind of still be in the off-season territory. Like based on the way that most websites normally structure content, the hard-hitting preview stuff would probably come 3rd of January.
Yeah.
There's a chance, watch out, because there's a chance some websites may blow their load too early, come in too hot with the previews too soon, and not account for the new or slightly new calendar.
I was going to say, though, as an extension to that, I feel like it kind of messes a little bit with the training expectations of what those guys are used to, because I feel like they used to like work up to Christmas Day, and then like Christmas to New Year's would be kind of light getting ready for A1. But now they might kind of work through that whole week, and then the light week will be after New Year's, which is just different than normal.
Well, I saw on Instagram that Chase and Vial and all of the people in that training group started boot camp November the 1st, which is that later? I feel like that's a little later.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like it's normally end of October, isn't it? That they start.
Well, but I mean, we have 1 year of reference because, of course, everyone took a little extra like leeway last year with SMX going as long as it did. So in the past, yes, you're right. It did start sooner, but I think now this is maybe the new norm where they take that like little extra gap in between and then kind of rush through boot camp in the 2 months leading up. So maybe. Anyway, so yeah, we have some topics today. We're going to talk about a lot of kind of burning things at the moment because there's some more news I feel like even coming soon that we'll probably discuss maybe even as soon as next week, depending on how things go.
I honestly have no idea what you're talking about.
How has the big news not dropped yet?
Prado.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we've already talked about it to death, but I mean, once it's finally announced.
No, that will be, I believe that is 12 days from now.
Well, then 12 days from now, we'll have more news to discuss. But before we jump into the show, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors who have backed us all the way through this year, and we very much appreciate their support. Of course, title sponsor of the show, EVS Sports, actually has an athlete support program open right now, I believe. So still, if you guys are checking that out, looking for stuff for 2025, definitely check out EVS Sports. They got some good stuff over there. Experience the pinnacle of knee protection and injury prevention with the EVS Web Eclipse knee brace. For over 39 years, EVS has relentlessly honed their engineering expertise, consistently delivering award-winning knee braces. This legacy of excellence is embedded in every facet of the new Web Eclipse, which represents the culmination of their tireless dedication to innovation and rider safety. Use code LVK30 to save 30% off today. And a thanks to Namura for presenting the show as well, the leading provider of engine components for motocross, ATV, UTV, and personal watercraft for over 2 decades. Namura has been the preferred choice for premium and dependable engine components for more than 20 years. Whether you're restoring your vintage bike, rebuilding your four-wheeler, or upgrading your new 450 race motor, Namura has you covered. Our extensive line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, engine valves, and soon cylinder kits that enhance your engine's performance. Keep an eye out for our new and innovative products in 2025 now and beyond. Stay up to date by following us on Instagram at Namura_technologies. And of course, Race Tech as well. We don't have a Race Tech fan topic, but we do have some non-motos that'll be, I think, kind of fun today. For 40 years, Race Tech has been supplying the motorcycle industry with high-quality suspension components made right here in the USA. For modern to vintage, Race Tech is your go-to source for suspension performance. And they're actually in the midst of their suspension seminars right now. They've been going on since the 2nd of November. And I've heard good feedback about how many people they got for that. So that was pretty cool to hear. All right, let's jump into topic number 1. This is coming from me again. We're doing our blind topic, 7 minutes apiece to start it off. And this is my first one for you, Lewis. We finally find out the Triumph official announcement with Faulkner, Jordan Smith, Styles Robertson, and Jalek Swoll. But I think the biggest piece there really is the Faulkner news and deal. Leaves PC after 8 years there. In some ways, it was a very successful time at PC, but he never got a championship, so it looks like a failure. But how much of an impact do you think that this is, not only for Triumph, the brand, to get a name like Austin Faulkner, who can, as we saw this year, go right to race-winning speed, but on top of that, for Faulkner himself to just, kind of branch out and do something different than what he's known his entire pro career?
There's a lot there, but I think it's needed, isn't it? I think that when you have a lot of bad stuff happen to you, when you're almost surrounded by the environment that festered that, it's impossible to not look at your Pro Circuit Kawasaki and be like, this has gone bad so many times. Whereas maybe looking at a fresh Triumph TF 250X and a new compound in Georgia, it maybe puts those negative thoughts or ideas to the back of your mind a little bit more. So I think that's a breath of fresh air for him. We are 100% guaranteeing that Triumph win their first Supercross in 2025, right?
I would say yes. The only thing I would hold back with is, like, if for whatever reason their two superstars, which to me are Jordan Smith and Faulkner now, get hurt, I still don't think that I'm fully there with Swoll winning a Supercross yet. But if they stay healthy all year, I think they get it done for sure.
Yeah, agreed. But I think the chances of both of those being hurt at the same time are so slim that they've got to win one. I'm almost not even going to entertain that as a conversation. I'm so certain that this happens. And I do believe that Faulkner will be competitive. It's Faulkner. We've seen it time and time again. But there is a part of me that wonders if, kind of contradicting what I said previously, if this takes away some of the flair. Maybe it subdues him a little bit. I don't know. It's open to interpretation. I really don't know how this goes. I think it goes well, but does Faulkner come out and wax the field at round 1 in a super impressive ride? I don't know.
Yeah, I struggle to put my head into a right spot with whether or not I want Faulkner to, like, just have what I would consider now the Pierce Brown model, which is like Pierce Brown was always ridiculously fast, and he chose this year to not do that necessarily in many aspects and take his 4ths and 5ths, and then obviously got his first career win at the end of the season, and now he's at Star and expected to win titles. But, like, I don't know if I want Faulkner to go into this whole process with, like, okay, let's take one step at a time. Let's start the season. I'm okay with a 7th at the opening round. I'm okay with a 5th at round 2. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Faulkner of old would have accepted that at all, but maybe that's the thing that he needs now. Maybe he does need to, like, take that step back and just make it to each round slowly but surely to get to a level where he can run that speed competitively all the time again.
I'd be interested to know how Triumph manage it, because if this, going into this year, for instance, there's no way they rolled up at Detroit and were saying to Swoll, we've got to win. We're ready to win. Here we go. Like, they were obviously aware of the challenges and the fact it was their first year, modest, if you will. I wonder if now heading into year 2, if they still say that and are like, hey guys, look, we want to win. We're going for this, but we're still only in year 2. Let's manage expectations. And that kind of calms Austin down. Or is Triumph in a position where they're like, it's year 2, we've seen what we can do, we want to win this year, come on guys, this is it, we've had our rookie year, let's go, and in which case that would fire the riders up quite significantly and add some pressure. I don't know what way they would go with that. The peak's heavy on chasing the maiden win.
Yeah, but as an extension to that, I feel like the narrative around Swoll, Savacci, Ferry year 1 for Triumph was like, not from them specifically, but from like people like us, where this is a great team. They can do really well, but if it's not great, it doesn't necessarily all reflect negatively on the team. Like there's reasons to poke holes in why Swole or Savachi or Ferry wouldn't have done well. And you know, some of it ended up being on the team because there's a lot of engine failures for Joey and stuff like that. But like I almost wonder if that same thing carries over to this group of riders, because the expectations are who knows for Styles Robertson. Very many question marks of Faulkner coming back from injury and then the brain surgery. I feel like Jordan Smith's maybe the most stable guy, and he won races even as recent as last year. So if he doesn't do well, there's problems. But I feel like it gives Triumph even more wiggle room year 2 again to be like, look, we're still learning and growing. Even if there's mistakes and problems, it's not just us. It could be the riders too.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is if they entered this year with this lineup, maybe we all offer them zero wiggle room and expect them to win right away. I thought you ran through the list there. I liked the fact that Triumph included some statistics in their PR, ruffled the norm up a little bit. You know, there was some real information in there. I liked the fact the 31% win rate for Faulkner in Supercross. Who knew? I was quite surprised, to be honest, when I read that. Would you have expected it to be that high? I don't think I did.
Yeah, just for the simple fact that it seems like he's either been on the track battling for wins or titles or out with injury. So
okay,
maybe I would almost
expected it to be a higher percentage, like 50-50.
No, because his rookie year he didn't win, but he made a decent amount of the rounds. He's had times where he was close but not winning. So no, I guess maybe because like he had the years where he was winning everything until he got hurt. I don't know. I guess, 31 to 40%, somewhere in the 30-40 range I would have expected. 31's maybe a tiny bit lower than I thought.
Okay, but still interesting. And then I think they said 4 wins for Smith. That's lower than I thought. But 23 podiums in Supercross, so there is that. But 4 wins, 23 podiums is quite a heavy balance on a second and third spot. Interesting.
23 podiums in 250 Supercross is kind of wild.
I don't know, but would you not expect it? I mean, we know he's been there for a while, so if you told me he had 40 podiums, I wouldn't bat an eyelid because we know how good he is.
No, but I mean, think about it from the fact of 9, most of the time, maybe 10 rounds a year. He's almost had 3 full 250 seasons of podiums at this point.
Okay. I don't know how quickly I'm going to do this, so I'm going to try.
Quickly, because time's up.
Okay. I would bet that Faulkner has probably had around that number of Supercross podiums, right? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 podiums.
Oh.
That would probably work out as 50-50 podium rate, I would imagine.
Yeah, somewhere around there. How many do you know how many starts he has officially?
No.
Okay. Well, either way.
I may have had that noted down at some point, but I don't know where I put that.
14 wins, right?
For Faulkner?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. All I know is his win rate is 31%.
We got great percentages here. Okay. But we're at the end of the time. I just think it'll be very interesting to see fresh face or fresh place for Faulkner, fresh face obviously for Triumph, and how that goes in 2025. My next topic is kind of like a bit of a one that maybe you would veto, but I just want to know.
Oh boy.
I just want to know if, like, generally speaking, we as the media and even we as fans should make a bigger deal about gear deals in this sport, because Cooper Webb just got announced going to Fly. It sounds like Prado's going from, all of his brands to Fox. And for the most part, as you and I know, behind the scenes, those are huge money deals and arguably some of the biggest individual money deals that these guys will make outside of their own, race team contract. Sometimes guys will take an energy drink deal, but it's getting rarer and rarer. Like, it seems like the team you're associated with comes with the energy drink instead of an individual thing. So should we pump that up more? Like, Fly Racing signing Cooper Webb is probably not for a little amount of money, and it's maybe even life-changing money in terms of longevity for Cooper Webb's career.
I think I could go both ways if you want me to. I feel like I could be easily convinced that we should pump it up more and we should pump it up less. I don't know. I don't really know where I land on it. I think Fly did a superb job with their announcement, by the way. I felt it was quite well executed, quite proper. I'm not sure that I've seen that sort of effort from a gear company before to announce a rider. Fair?
Yeah. Yes.
I can't really picture having a proper press release, for instance, about a rider and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I guess not. Right. That does make. I'm trying to think. I feel like it has to have happened.
I mean, to be honest, now that I think about it, I'm not sure that there have been that many high-profile switches to even allow this sort of creativity.
No, not really. It's
Yeah,
pretty
like
rare.
RV was 4 forever, Dunge Fox.
Well, and then just to piggyback on this, J Coop switching to O'Neill and HJC, like again, those two companies I think did a pretty good job of like an announcement of sorts for that.
Yeah, but pale in comparison to Fly because they just did an Instagram post.
Of course. I just mean that like you're right. It's not something that we see all that often for those top level guys, and I would consider J Coop in that mix, not necessarily the same status and stature of Cooper Webb, but I think it's a big deal. Like it's not something that just cool, he's in a different gear brand swept under the rug. Like the money that's going around behind the scenes for this is way more than some people would think. But, Adam Cianciarulo was just on Pulp a couple weeks ago, and he detailed how much money he was making from his gear deals and his, ride for the season and stuff like that. And it's not a little amount of money.
This is a complete sidebar and almost irrelevant to everyone, but I saw on Cooper's Instagram story, he posted a video of the room where presumably the Fly contract was signed. A massive screen that said, "Welcome to the family, Cooper Webb," a bike with his graphics on, his number, gear hung up with his jersey, like his name and number on, and then championship banners with all of his championships. Like that impressed me more than anything. Like, fair play to Fly. They really... have you seen the movie Air?
No. Well, maybe, but it doesn't ring a
Great
bell.
movie. My favorite movie of all time, I think. It's basically a reenactment of how Nike signed Michael Jordan.
Okay.
But similar... Point being, similar vibe, like the way they try to schmooze and like make him convinced that they are a big company and this is how invested we are in you as a person. I kind of got similar vibe from Fly's input into Cooper. Complete sidebar, irrelevant to everyone. Back on topic. Get us back on topic.
Okay. Well, the point I'm trying to make though is like, I feel that again, generally speaking, it's just like, oh, cool. You know what I mean? Whereas if he switches bike brands, if he goes from Yamaha to KTM or back and forth or whatever, it's like, how's that going to go and all that stuff? Because there's so much more we can break down about what that's going to be like. But this, Cooper Webb has been a Thor athlete forever. And so to make this switch, it almost feels a similar switch to someone going from Monster to Red Bull or back and forth after they've been with whatever brand for a super long time, which I honestly feel kind of the same thing about Prado when he goes to Cowie. That's going to look really weird with him being in Monster Energy branded stuff. But on top of that, the gear company that he's likely going to is going to kind of blow our wigs back as well. And I feel like that needs to be talked about a little bit more.
Is it because ultimately there aren't massive performance differences between the gear? So ultimately, although it's a different brand, it's really just a different design? I mean, not obviously, not exactly. There are subtle differences, but for the most part, it's not like there's a performance gain to to bite into. Maybe that's part of it. It's a little bit like, oh, you changed T-shirt.
Yes,
that's a real cynical view of it, but just playing the counter.
The only thing I can point to as why I'm like even thinking of this as like a thought from a fan perspective, really, is because I grew up a fan of NASCAR, and I remember how freaking huge of a deal it was when Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is and was the most popular NASCAR driver at the time, changed teams and he couldn't bring his number or his sponsors with him. So he went from being the guy that drove the Budweiser 8 to the National Guard number 88 car. And like that was a huge deal, even though it didn't change anything. He just went from a different, company to a different company in terms of, sponsorship and all that. But it was like a big thing for the fans and like, oh, it's iconic. He's in that car and now he's in this car. And it's like, Cooper Webb, I feel like, is going to be remembered for something, but now he may not be remembered for being in Thor gear his whole career. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff where aesthetics maybe change just a little bit of a viewpoint for everything.
Maybe this is aggressive, but is a part of a reason that Thor's offering has become so stale and almost unrecognizable or mundane, or I'll stop using words now that are quite insulting, but it's without being harsh, it's almost not surprising that he's moved on. It's almost like about time. It's not like I ever got the impression that Thor was super invested in Cooper Webb and they were just two titans locked together year after year. It almost felt like a deal out of convenience. So maybe that's why I never got the impression, like, for instance, Kenny and Fox.
Yeah.
I really feel like Fox are in on Kenny. A-Stars and Jet. Or maybe more so A-Stars and Chase, I think. But either way, A-Stars and insert athlete here, I feel like they're just in on them. Thor doesn't give off that vibe that they kind of just give off the vibe that they're just sponsoring athletes.
Okay. I can see where you're coming from with that. We're at the end of the time, but I just, maybe that is the underlying thing, right? Is these brands don't necessarily have as much of an identity with the athlete as they used to, or maybe they do, and we just aren't really noticing it as much.
Yeah, maybe we're numb to it. But
Thor they lost Webb. They're going to lose Prado. Like, this is actually kind of a big hole in their catalog, I feel like, to lose these two more or less superstars of the sport at the same time.
Yeah, to a lesser degree, but they're losing Lagerfelder. They lost someone else as well. Who else have they? Plessingers. I think it's just AP and Star who have remained. I don't know about Vial. Someone did tell me, though, that Vial was maybe moving on, but I haven't got confirmation on that.
I'm sure we're missing somebody, but
like, for instance, now, like, Thor will have, as long as I'm not forgetting someone, 0 representation in MXGP. Whereas they've just come on. No, because Standing Construct has gone.
What's Jonas going to be wearing?
I don't know. I was actually going to text him that earlier because he posted an Instagram video this morning. And I could, for the life of me, could not tell what gear it was.
Just one?
So, it did look very just one. That was what I was going to text him. But I know what the potential gear companies were going to be, and Thor was not one of them. It was like just one. I shouldn't say.
Just start listing them off. Just go behind the scenes of this deals. Yeah. Okay. That's enough of that topic. Let's get into my non-moto topic for the day. Okay. So this is going to piggyback on an earlier rant I had in the year, which is people who talk on their phones in airport bathrooms.
I remember.
And how disgusting I think that is. Okay. I don't know if I missed a societal discussion, like maybe I wasn't at the meeting, but why is it just like the norm that people do talk on speakerphone in public these days? Because I went to In-N-Out yesterday with my daughter, and there was a guy that was sitting behind us, older gentleman. He's in at this In-N-Out at midday on the phone with whatever his company is, discussing quarterly numbers and stuff like that in an In-N-Out. It is very loud. Like, I can hear everything that they're discussing and all these different numbers and how are we going to do for this quarter and stuff like that. And at one point, he actually like turned and looked at me and my daughter was kind of being obnoxious and loud because she's a 4-year-old, and was like, can you keep that quiet? He didn't say that, but like the tone of his eyes were very much like that. And I'm like, dude, we're in a fast food restaurant in the middle of the day. Like, if you want to work, go somewhere else kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. Am I missing something here?
I mean, I haven't experienced this, but it sounds like his conversation was very interesting and one that I would have enjoyed listening in on.
Well, it's not really about the conversation. It's just about, like, you can't come to a place that's so public like that and expect peace and quiet, privacy. You know what I mean?
Well, complete, not related to what you just said, but is somewhat. At my apartment complex here, there's a working from home area with private pods and a communal area. Yesterday, all the private pods were taken. So I was in the communal area and there was one other guy there, and he was in a meeting, and I have no idea what he does, but I was invested. I was in.
But could you hear it? Was he on speakerphone?
I couldn't hear the other side. I could only hear him.
Yeah.
But I paused. I had headphones in. I paused my music because I was like, and because I couldn't figure out for the life of me what he did. But I heard him say, yeah, we just need to get the logo correct on this NASCAR. I'm not happy with the position of our logo. So I was like, what is this? I never found out, but kind of similar. But
yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is you can have sometimes you can stumble onto interesting topics.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have loved the business with Lewis side of you would have loved this. You would have gathered all this information, been like, okay, so now I know this company and what their target goals are and all this stuff like that. I was just like, man, I'm just here to.
I would have gone over and offered some advice.
I'm just here to eat. I did not want to hear all the details about what's going on with this dude's company. But even aside from that specific thing, don't you just generally feel like people are on speakerphone a lot? Like I try to keep my phone calls, especially if I take a phone call and I'm around people, I'll go somewhere where there's not people, not because I don't want them to hear it. I don't care sometimes, especially if I'm on the phone with friends or whatever, but just to common courtesy, not interrupt what other people are doing.
I don't know. I feel like I've not seen people on speakerphone. I can't relate. I'm trying to recall a single time. I'm thinking back to being in airports. Obviously, a lot of AirPods.
Yeah. That's fine. It's just a normal phone call to me. It's just holding the phone up to your ear if you're using AirPods. It's a little bit weird because sometimes I will see people with AirPods in, and it's 99% of the time at the airport. And, aesthetically, I'm not looking right at them. So they'll start talking and I'll look and be like, are they talking to me or whatever? Because I don't see them holding a phone. So
I've only recently gained confidence to be an airport phone caller. And I feel awkward on the other end of that when I'm walking along talking to someone and then someone looks at me and I'm like, oh, fuck me. I'm on the reverse of this now. So sad.
Off topic for just a quick second. If someone asks you to mimic your getting on the telephone, like a hand gesture, what do you do with your hands?
I don't know.
Like this? Oh, like this. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Because there's
whatever's convenient.
There's just things I see on TikTok or whatever, but this thing going around of if you try to ask that of someone at a younger generation of us, the Gen Z or whatever, they'll do this.
I wouldn't do. I would do that or that. I don't know what you just did.
For the audio
no
listeners,
idea what you just did.
For the audio listeners, what I'm showing is the if you're holding an iPhone and so you're holding it like a block in your hand. That's what the Gen Z or newer does, where they're like, I don't even know how to describe this hand motion, claw grip, but everyone above this age of ours and beyond, as far as I know, would do the thing where it's you're doing the hang loose sign.
Yeah.
And then put it up to your ear. So anyway, way off topic, but yeah, quit talking on speakerphone in public, people. It's so obnoxious. I don't want to hear your conversations.
Noted. Right, my turn?
Yeah, let me just quickly thank the sponsor real quick, EVS Sports. Experience the pinnacle of knee protection and injury prevention with the EVS Web Eclipse knee brace. For over 39 years, EVS has relentlessly honed their engineering expertise, consistently delivering award-winning knee braces. This legacy of excellence is embedded in every facet of the new Web Eclipse, which represents their culmination of tireless dedication to innovation and rider safety. Use code LVK30 to save 30% off today. What do you got for me, Lewis Phillips?
All right, let's get into this. So, who's going to win this election? I'm joking.
Oh, boy.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I thought a bit of humor, So, WSX is kind of the basis for this, but I'm kind of leaning into a bigger topic. So, don't make this WSX centric, but more sport centric. WSX obviously held round 1 since we last did a show. They kept the chaotic race format and even added to it with Super Pole and Super Final. I understand why. More chaos, more action, basically more value for money in a sense. I am of the opinion that more racing like that almost devalues the sporting side and essentially makes us FMX.
100%.
Or Nitro Circus. What did you say?
I said 100%.
Oh, okay. And then I started thinking about this the other week. A lot of time on my hands. And then I started thinking, well, to my knowledge, you're going to have to help me out here. SMX in America, 1 day. NASCAR? 1 day?
No.
Okay. IndyCar?
No.
Okay, but stick and ball sports one day. Yes.
Well,
Which,
yeah.
of course, is what you're going to do. But I was trying to figure out if this was an American thing, because obviously then I was thinking European-wise, MXGP 2 days, F1 2 days, MotoGP 2 days. I actually couldn't come up with a one-day format that exists in Europe. So I wondered if this was the Americanization of sport.
Yes and no. I mean, motorsports here, no. Like you said with NASCAR, IndyCar, they qualify Saturday. They'll often have practice or free practice on Friday, so it's a full weekend thing. Like the NASCAR circuit is literally, you're at the race and you go to the next race. Like they barely touch home for 5 seconds and then go to the next one. So, no.
And this isn't so much a criticism of the one-day format, because obviously you're not going to rent a stadium for 2 days. That's ridiculous.
So is your topic more in the line of like the rapid succession of races we want to go over, or the one-day format?
No, I almost just feel like, not the one-day format, but I almost just feel like we should be less focused on, we need to entertain these people and have more confidence in our product and be like, our product is good enough because there is X, Y, and Z on the line. We can have a 2-hour break because we're building excitement. I feel like, as I say, it comes across as basically, I read it as our product is terrible, so just have lots of it. It's almost like discounting the product, isn't it? Like, hey, one race probably isn't enough for you, so have 5.
Yeah, I think you could copy this into Monster Energy AMA Supercross to a degree. Yeah,
because we do go heat, we do go bang, 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 bang. Obviously, not all races are of importance because we do have a main event, which I do like.
Every motorsport, I feel like, in the 21st century has, in some shape or form, crossed this bridge of, do we want to increase consistent, constant entertainment value, or do we want to rely on our historic product that we have? And I feel like the ones that have remained successful have, for the most part, tried to rely on the product that they have. MotoGP and F1 both have introduced sprint races or sprint qualifying in various effects, and that's kind of changed it just slightly. But at the end of the day, they still look at it as, here is one Grand Prix, one race that we go race, and done.
Yeah, although they've changed that part, the Sunday main event still exists. So it's almost, it's not altering the product, it's altering the attachments to the product. I don't know. But I feel like, I don't know. I think the best way I can put it is, like I said, it just screams FMX Nitro Circus to me. Like, you can't tell me this is a, and again, now I'm kind of bashing on WSX, but I'm not. I'm bashing on the concept of having multiple races in such a short time span. Because I think the WSX Night Show went for 2 hours. You can't tell me that this is a super, super important championship when you're pulling the riders off and then just lining them back up again, because that is sideshow-esque.
Right. Well, like my theory kind of with this, and it's maybe a dumb one, but I believe it to be true, is that if you have so much like quick, rapid entertainment a lot, it generally takes away from interest from people, because if they don't get exactly what they want every single time, they will leave. Like, so if you have in WSX, if you have this crazy night, wild action, 3 races that all provide the goods, it's unbelievable. And then the next week it's 3 walkaways. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, okay, whatever, cool. And so if you, with, motocross and supercross in mind, if you have this one race a week kind of thing, people will keep coming back, I think, hoping to see the next best, greatest thing. And so if you give them the greatest thing on a constant basis, it diminishes the value. And as you said with FMX, like how you can kind of tie this back in, I feel like the progression of FMX was like, whoop, and we're back down again, because everyone wanted to see what's the next best thing. What are they doing now? What are they doing now? And then it got to like this unrealistic, unobtainable level of like, well, if they don't do a double backflip every time, this is boring. And so people stopped tuning in. But when the double backflip first got landed, it was insane. You know what I mean?
I guess the stance that I would like to see people involved with our sport have is, our main product is so good, they can wait for it.
Right.
We don't need to cater to them because our product is so amazing that they're going to come and see that.
Which but it sounds anti-growth, which is what all, like, especially in Moto, they're trying to grow and trying to get it bigger and better. But there's a point in time in which you need to rely on the fact that the sport's existed for a long time and done very well existing for a long time. And you can continue to have steady upward trend. You don't need to rewrite everything overnight, you know?
Yeah, I know. I mean, to move it away from WSX, I've also said this about MXGP. With all of the EMX classes now, by the time you get to Moto 1 of MX2 on Sunday, you're kind of like, I've seen 10 race starts. Like, this isn't that exciting. Whereas I remember being a kid and like, or you go through the Saturday time practice at that point, and even the excitement of seeing a start was enough to drag you to Sunday. Whereas now it's like, oh, more bikes on track. Like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I think we're done with that. Yes?
Yep. You just hit the time.
Second topic. I will ask you for your opinion of this. So from KTM's first 450 win was 2012. So let's look at 2012 as like the start of a new era, because it's when KTM entered the fray. Fair? Fair.
Yep. Okay.
From 2012 to now, who do you think has had the most 450 Supercross main event wins? And I'm not trying to catch you out, or I'm not trying to be like, oh, you're dumb, because I would guess wrong. But it's more for the interest of conversation. I'm not trying to catch you out. Well, hey,
on a KTM 450, who's had the most?
No, of which since round 1 of 2012, of which manufacturer has had the most 450 Supercross main event wins?
I mean, like the winningest rider since then has been Tomac, but he switched manufacturers so many times. I think based on your question, I'm assuming KTM is the right answer, and I would probably guess them outright anyway, just because they've had so many riders with continued success. They've always put more or less a championship rider on the track. So I would say KTM.
Okay. What would have been your second guess? It's not KTM.
That's not. Interesting. Second guess. See, since 2012, right? Because Yamaha didn't do like hardly any winning from 2012 until recently. So it's tough because I don't know that it would be them. Honda?
No.
Really?
Another guess?
Is it Cowie?
Yeah. But so point being, this is where I'm getting to. Point being, I feel like at the moment we all look on Cowie quite unfavorably.
I don't.
Okay. Ignore that. But point being, well, no. Nice, thanks. Now you've led me down a path that I don't want to be on.
We had this conversation in the last show, though.
No, but point being, you kind of forget. Like, because Cowie is leading that ranking, but I haven't won since 2022. And just
you make that sound like it's so long ago, but in a 12-year span, that's only 2 years ago that they haven't won.
No, but for Cowie to not win in 2 years is quite something. Obviously, the further back you go, I've only built out my little chart to 2005, but from 2005 to now, in that period, Cowie are miles and miles and miles ahead.
Of course. You're including, you are including 3 of Villopoto's title years, 2012 beyond, but you're taking away a lot of success in 2011, a lot of success in 2010 for him. You're taking all of James Stewart's Cowie successes away. So
I guess my point is, like me asking you, if you quizzed whoever you want on this, I don't think that many people would say Cowie, because you do forget a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I just in my mind think of Tomac as spent 3 different lives at 3 different brands, but in all reality, he spent a majority of his career at Cowie on a 450. So,
okay. Next part, who would be second behind Cowie?
Since 2012?
Yep.
I mean, again, I would say KTM probably.
Yeah, it is KTM. So okay. Cowie, since 2012, Cowie has had 70. KTM has had 64.
But
And
so Cowie's
again,
had 70, Villapoto won 20 of those, 25?
all I've got is year by year. I don't have rider.
Okay.
But okay, so my point here is since 2012, the top two winningest 450 manufacturers are Kawasaki, which, despite you disagreeing, I do think is in a bit of a not looked at as favorably as it once was at the moment.
Okay.
And KTM, who the stigma at the moment is KTMs are just shit in Supercross. So the two winningest manufacturers over the last 12 years are the two that are arguably the least popular at the moment.
Well, what I attribute that to is both of those brands, in my opinion, and this is why I don't diminish Cowie's recent failures, if you want to call them that. I think both of those brands have done a good job of always trotting out a championship contender to the gate every single year. In some shape or form, at least trying to. Cowie, you can maybe take 2015 off the table with Davey Millsaps. Other than that, there's every reason why you could believe they had at least one guy that should probably contend for a championship going to line every year. The same with KTM.
Okay, but again, I think my point stands about KTM that everyone criticizes the bike, and that's a hot thing to do right now, even down to the suspension. But clearly, it's fine. Obviously, bikes change from year to year. There's different things, but as a core package and the knowledge level coming out of Austria, WP, whatever, clearly it's fun. So that's also okay. So next part, who would be third in your mind? Since 2012 again.
Yeah, since 2012. I mean, it's tough because there's so much recent success with Yamaha and Honda that I'm inclined to want to pick one of them. But on the flip side, they didn't do hardly anything until kind of recently. I mean, yes, they had Ken Roczen, Honda did from 2017 onward, but he wasn't winning at a remarkable rate. They had Kennard. He was very good, but didn't click off a lot of wins. Am I dumb in just saying that it's maybe Suzuki?
No, it's Honda.
Okay.
And Honda kind of alone. So Cowie 70, KTM 64. So actually, to be honest, I'm probably quite surprised that KTM's that close to Cowie. Honda 37, a lot of those coming in the last 2 years, obviously. Then after Honda at 37, so this is my next and final little, wouldn't expect that. After Honda at 37, it's Yamaha at 23. Just 6 wins ahead of Suzuki. Which but I feel like you've taken some of the shock factor off of that by just picking Suzuki third.
But again, trying to think of 2012 on, 2012 to 2016, they had James freaking Stewart, and 2015 and 2016, they had Ken Roczen. So of course they're going to collect a lot of wins from two guys that carried the brand for 5 years there.
Honestly, though, 2012, 0 wins for Suzuki, 2013, 3, 2014, 5, 2015, 2, 2016, 5, and then none until Kenny on Hep. That's not, considering what you've just said about the talent level, that's not,
yeah,
like,
but I'm saying,
just swept the board.
During that time, who won on a Yamaha? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, true. Yeah, well, yeah.
It's a tale of two halves. Yamaha is killing it right now, but Suzuki at the beginning of that time frame that you suggested there was trotting out two of the generational talents.
But again, if you had like a line graph that showed form, Yamaha's would really be a late surgeons, which again, I feel like at the moment it's like that's the team to be on. Yamaha's the best, and it's like I guess the overarching thing here is how quickly recency bias changes everything in a sport.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point.
Okay, did you enjoy that? I thought that was quite fun.
I thought it was very nice, Lewis.
Maybe I'll try and do something similar. I don't know what else. Okay. Right, my non-moto topic.
Oh boy,
what?
I don't know. You're grabbing a notebook, so I feel like we've got a story coming.
I want to check your knowledge level, Kellen.
Oh.
So I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Feel free to play along with this at home, people. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. I want you to simply say, how much do you think you know about each of the following topics?
Like out of 10?
More, compared to most people, so compared to the average population, how much do you think you know about each of the following topics? More, less, or the same?
This
Those
is turning
who
into
are-
therapy with Lewis very quickly, I feel like.
No? You're clear on the rules.
Okay, yeah.
Question 1. Why English became the official language of the United States? More, less, or the same?
I mean, I like history a lot, so I'm not trying to like be too cocky, but I would say maybe more, but probably
Okay.
about the same because I feel like most Americans know that line of our history.
Okay. 2. I don't even know what this means. Why women were burned at the stake in Salem?
Salem. The Salem
is
witch
that?
trials. The Salem witch trials.
Okay. More, less, or the same?
I mean, again, I think it was kind of taught in American schools, so I'll just say same, but I
Okay.
do remember what this story is about. So,
3rd, what job Walt Disney had before he drew Mickey Mouse?
I'll just say same.
Okay.
I think I know, but I don't know for sure.
On which space flight humans first laid eyes on the Great Wall of China?
On which what was the first part of that?
On which space flight humans first laid eyes on the Great Wall of China?
Have no idea. Less
Okay.
than most people probably.
And finally, why eating candy affects how kids behave?
Well, lately I feel like I know more than the average person because I just had a Halloween with my daughter. I'll just say about the same though. Most people
Okay.
probably know.
Okay. On the questions above, if you felt you knew anything at all, think again. America has no official language. So,
Oh,
English
okay.
isn't-
So you're trying to trick me. I see. Yep,
suspected
here we go.
witches were hanged in Salem, not burned. Walt Disney didn't draw Mickey Mouse. You can't actually see the Great Wall of China from space. And the average effect of sugar on children's behavior is 0. So what this
Bullshit.
tells, Kellen,
That is bullshit. That last one.
what this little test, which I will be running on multiple people in my life, it's basically a test of your own, how you value yourself, whether you
Okay.
basically how much you believe in your own knowledge source. And what we've deciphered here, Kellen, is that you're quite a confident person, and maybe, just maybe, unjustifiably.
Probably. That would be a fair criticism. But I can
Um,
see how from this test alone, people don't try, like, especially because of the way that it's presented, people don't look at that and go, well, did he say the right sentence about that thing? They simply just go, do I know the topic he's talking about or not?
When I did this, I just went less, because I was like, I'm stupid. I don't know what any of this is about. And then when I got to the part where it told me that was a good thing, I was like, oh wow, that's
You're
a happy
smarter than
accident.
all of us, Lewis. Congratulations.
I was really like mad at myself for like the 2 minutes until I got to the result, and I was like, fuck, why don't I know this stuff? I should know more. Like what? Like, and I was like, oh, what happy accident. Yeah, fun. Credit for that little test comes from the book Think Again.
Wow. Good read, Lewis. Are you having fun reading books lately?
No, it's the off season. We're no trying to be the best I can be. It's basically about rethinking your own beliefs about business.
About business. How
Basically, not
how
getting
does
so
this tie into business, though? Just because of like your own mentality of how you approach topics?
Yeah, basically, it's like not getting so stuck in your belief that you are right.
Yeah.
And being open to other suggestions and understanding like how to deal with, like, there's a whole chapter on disagreeing with people, which is why I haven't disagreed with you once on this podcast, because I'm very zen.
Well, this is that's fantastic discourse for our show, which is quite literally supposed to be a debate show.
Yeah, so
Lewis versus
I'm
Kellen,
good. I'm good.
Yeah.
We don't need to debate. We don't need to do a debate show anymore. I'm good.
That was just Lewis and Kellen will be LAK.
Yeah, it's just going to be a discussion.
We're just together talking about stuff.
No, I thought that was quite a good topic, to be honest.
No,
to be
that's
honest with you,
fascinating.
to be honest with you, I feel like this has been quite a good show considering the hastiness in which it was put together and the fact that not much is happening.
Right. There is still a few things happening, but for those of you that are listening at home, I am probably about a minute away from having to go to a hospital, I feel like, and see my second child. So it's been a busy time for me, although nothing has been really going on too much. But I'm excited.
And I'm reading a book.
And you're reading a book. Fantastic. And then you'll start business with Lewis next year, and everyone will tune in because you'll have had the knowledge basis established behind it.
Yeah, essentially, I'm just going to rip off. Stay tuned as for next week when I get further into this book and find another game for us to play. No, like, for instance, the chapter I'm just starting is called Dance with Foes, How to Win Debates and Influence People. So actually, no, maybe next time I'll be even more debatey, but I'll be really like savvy with it. And you will have no chance. I'm not sure if it teaches you how to be debatey. I don't think that's actually.
Before we part ways with our fine folks listening in, Lewis, how was Tampa Supercross or whatever that thing was? Did you go? Tampa?
I don't know.
Dade City MX
about.
Or whatever it was?
Oh, the Dirt Bike Depot ride day.
Yeah, how was it?
I didn't go, Kellen.
Lewis.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I got caught up with my book. No, I was busy. I was going to go. And unfortunately, I was caught up. Always next time.
Always next time.
Yep.
Are you traveling anywhere soon? Or are you?
I don't know. It doesn't look like I'm going to Paris. So
really? Oh yeah. Okay. No, I heard about why. So okay.
Who do you talk to?
You literally texted it to us.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Me. Right. That would be me.
Yeah.
You talk
yeah.
to.
You explained why you won't be going. Okay. Anyway, yeah, we're going to do a bit of a short show today, but thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of LVK. Appreciate the sponsors backing us, EVS Sports, Namura, and Race Tech, and Lewis for dropping by and saying hello to me again today. Good to see you, buddy. I hope we get to speak again soon.
Yeah, good to see you. I'm going to get back to reading.
All right. Okay, we'll send Lewis on his way. Thanks guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.